I'm Stacy Frenapple-Hanson with the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. We are holding this gambling stakeholder call for the 2062, and we will send the transcript out afterwards. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I'll go through some highlights, and Deputy Director Bobby Boyer will also go through some state highlights, and then we will have a conversation about what's happening for you, what's going well for you, so you can share what's going on in the communities. And we can continue that conversation in email as needed. This will go from 1 to 2 o'clock. Please mute yourself until we have some open discussion. Thank you. As we know, with COVID-19, there are a lot of individuals under stress, all kinds of stress, whether it be financial, whether it be job-related, whether it's parents of older adults or parents of kids that they have to all of a sudden become the teachers for. Many of those parents are also trying to do their jobs from home. There's tons of anxiety and stress, and we also have individuals who might feel like they can't go to an emergency room. Their normal channels for getting help have been interfered with during the quarantine. We anticipate an increase in gambling problems. There is research that indicates that might be the case. We are hearing about it anecdotally. We're hearing about it from the broader behavioral health community in terms of increases.
I am. I need to take notes on that computer.
Could we have you mute, please?
Sorry.
Thank you. I bring this up just to make sure that we're all well aware of it. I imagine that we are. It's extremely important that we have screened individuals that are coming into your agencies. We hope that everyone is screening at intake and screening at least one other time, or screening at those regular intervals throughout the course of treatment, whether that individual is coming into treatment because of substance use disorder, because of a mental health diagnosis, whether it's major depression or anxiety, or any other related behavioral health diagnosis. We know that the individuals with those other diagnoses are anywhere from 20 to 40% more likely to have a gambling disorder diagnosis. And during this time when people have so much more time to either gamble online, to gamble on their phones, to gamble within those games, there's a lot of opportunity for gambling, even though we might be quarantined. If you have questions about what that screening looks like, when it should take place, and how often, anything regarding the screening, please reach out to us. Scott Anderson, call. Normally, I would say we will come to you, and within hopefully a couple months, we will be happy to come to you to provide face-to-face trainings. But for now, those could be virtual trainings. Happy to provide those for a specific agency and for really any group of clinicians. And we are working with the Problem Gambling Network of Ohio on our work development efforts to get more and more of that information out to you in a virtual format, which I'll talk about in a minute. Keep in mind that the Problem Gambling Allocation Funds, and if you're from an organization that receives the ATOM Board's Problem Gambling Allocation Funds, those funds were put into the Constitution and then legislation specifically for gambling and other addictions. So obviously they can be used for gambling and other addictions for the full continuum of care, for promotion, prevention, for treatment, for recovery. And if they are, we've had some questions during, again, this COVID time, use some of those funds to support treatment services that are other addiction related, that is allowed. And nobody is saying that you cannot do that. You can. But remain true to the funds in terms of screening for gambling, ensuring that someone with a gambling diagnosis is getting the help that they need. Please mute. Thank you. Hi, Judy. Okay. Again, if you have questions about that, please give us a call. Scott and I will both answer our phones, absolutely, and we'll walk you through that. We want the funds to be used appropriately. We want them to be used, number one, we want them to be used appropriately. We want to ensure that anybody in Ohio who is suffering from problem gambling or starting to deal with gambling disorder is getting the help that they need. And there's a high likelihood that those will be co-occurring individuals. So let us know if you have questions. On the prevention side of the spectrum, keep in mind that the Before You Bet campaign for adults and the problem and the Change the Game campaign for youth and parents of youth are ongoing and going strong, gearing up for new rollouts as we get into the new fiscal year. And Beth Burson, which is Beth at origobranding.com, can help you with those campaigns if you'd like to localize them for your communities. It's a good time and a good opportunity to get that information out there when people may be at risk. Quick update on workforce development. Some have changed. We normally have had 2 stage 1s and 2 stage 2 face-to-face trainings around the state of Ohio. This year, there will be 4 stage 1s. And these are hosted by and coordinated by the Problem Gambling Network of Ohio with Ohio MHAS funds and Ohio for Responsible Gambling support. So there will be 4 stage 1s. 2 of those will be virtual. It's a really good opportunity to learn something about problem gambling. It's an overview, and it starts to get into the specifics through the course of that program. Those will be 3 days of 4 hours each. Normally, they're 2 6-hour-day trainings. From a virtual perspective, stretch that out a little bit further so that they are 4 hours a day over 3 days. So 2 opportunities for that, and then there'll be 2 additional opportunities for face-to-face. And then we'll do 2 stage 2 trainings, which hopefully will be all face-to-face. Those are much more in depth. They're definitely clinically focused. Stage 1s could be for anybody, for prevention specialists who want to learn more, prevention for CDCAs, for individuals in recovery. If you know that you have clients in any related field who may have some gambling issues, attending a stage 1 is a good way to get the big picture. We also have our Problem Gambling Treatment Supervision Fellowship. We will have a graduation of this year's fellows in August, and a new cohort will start recruiting for that in August. So they'll overlap a little bit this year. But that work will continue. We're into, it's our 6th, I think it'll be our 6th cohort for the fellowship. Supervision for clinicians who treat gambling disorder and who want to get their GAMB endorsement for treating gambling disorder. That will continue. It's switched from Recovery Resources as the coordinator for the supervision calls to Problem Gambling Network of Ohio. That switch is basically happening right now. Those supervision calls were on a monthly basis. Please mute. Please mute. Thank you. You'll be able to attend face-to-face supervision calls this year. There'll be 4 of those, and 4 additional calls will be over the phone. So Gambling, PGN Ohio, pgnohio.org/events for those details. Lastly, the state conference will be February 25, 26 in 2021. The state conference will be at the Nationwide Hotel and Conference Center, again, February 25. There's a hold the date. And if you haven't heard, there will not be a national conference in D.C. in July, but there will be pre-conference available in a virtual format, and they plan to have their in-person conference in November in D.C. So more will be coming on that. That was a quick overview. We'll include all of that in the notes, especially since they aren't able to participate. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Deputy Director Bobby Boyer, who will share some perspective from the state of Ohio. Bobby.
Thanks, Stacy. It's great to be with y'all. A few things I thought I could give you a feel for the types of things we've been working on as a department. One of the things that's become really an everyday kind of job for us is looking at developing resources to get out to the field, whether that's providing guidance around responses to the COVID or just how to support children and families going through this pandemic together. So that takes a lot of our time, and so there's a lot of development going on from the prevention side and all the way through our department. Another piece of work that we're involved with at the state level is working with all our institutions, whether that be Department of Rehab and Corrections, Department of Youth Services, or psychiatric hospitals. We're finding that many of those institutions are having an uptick in COVID identified cases, and then also staff that are affected. So a lot of our work is just helping those institutions develop the protocols needed to protect staff and residents. So that's an ongoing set of work. I think that our prevention staff developed is we opened a care line, a 24-hour care line, provides emotional support for anyone who would like to just call in and talk. And we're staffing that line with some of our staff that are normally inside the Department of Rehab and Corrections institutions. Since they're not able to go in, they're supporting this wonderful line. And so we're having amazing results from that, and people are so appreciative that there's some place that they can call and just talk to someone about how they're feeling during this time. Other thing, can I have everyone check your audio to mute, to make sure that you are muted? That would be awesome. Thank you. Ohio MOS has been working internally and also with external partners so that the behavioral health system is prepared for a surge in service need on Ohioans. We know that we've never seen anything like what we're experiencing right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, but we can learn from other situations we have experienced over the years, and that is through disasters and through different unemployment scenarios that we've experienced. We know that after those types of experiences, we see a large uptick in overdoses and relapse and suicide, and probably gambling, I'm sure it fits in there as well. So we are beginning a lot of planning in our leadership teams on just helping us identify what we need to be doing to prepare for those kinds of changes in this new environment, knowing that we're going to have lower resources to support those needs, and also to put in place some communication strategies so we can be in touch with the field and learn what's going on, in a moment's notice, so to speak, so that we're really in tune with if there's a hot spot in a particular state or county, that we can move resources in that direction to support those communities. So those are some of the things that we're thinking about and working towards. On the prevention side, we've done a lot of work with the Department of Education. We have a lot of common strategies that are going on there now. And in anticipation of those surges and also of children returning to school, we're spending a lot of time thinking about what that experience might look like in different areas, how it might change over time, and what resources we can provide for the schools and parents and children to make that happen in the fall. Of course, we're working on state budget reductions for next year. However, right now we do not anticipate gambling dollars are affected by that, so that's good news for the moment. We'll keep you posted on if that changes. The other thing that we're working on is a lot of work with Medicaid to help keep the expanded telehealth rules in place as long as possible. We are going to first ask for an extension so that we can make sure that we have those wonderful resources available for those that need them. So I think that's the laundry list of kind of the highlights I just wanted to share with you today, and it's really good to be with you. Thank you for your amazing work that you're doing, and thank you for being creative and changing the way you do work so that you can be available to those that need you and that you can train those that need their training. It's an amazing, even though we've been going through rough times, it's heartwarming to me to see the creativity that's occurring, and in your that's amazing. So we're here to help in any way that we can, and so just let us know if we can support you.
I
will. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. I'll remind folks one more time to mute. We hear some side conversations. Thank you. What we want to do at this point is give you a chance to share with each other. We know that we've had a lot of forced opportunity to go virtual in so many different ways and look for alternatives to how we can do the work that we do to support Ohio citizens and the communities that we serve. So at this point, you do have control of your mute buttons. So I ask you to, if you want to speak, to unmute. We'll, try to deal with it one person at a time. But we do not have you mass muted. So if you want to ask a question or explain how you're providing prevention, treatment, recovery services during quarantine, during COVID, please unmute yourself and speak up.
Hi, this is Judy Wood. Can you hear me?
Yes, Judy, we can.
Thank you. I submitted several questions. One was on the first training you said could be used for prevention professionals. So would that also give prevention credits? I can't remember my second question. I'll look at that in a minute. And then also, could you re-clarify, and I think you did it at the very beginning, any flexibility of the funds for other addictions? I think we're using all of ours for these, but just clarifying. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Judy. And I had responded to your question about one. I just hit send. I typed it and didn't hit send.
Thank you.
So with the stage ones, we definitely will. We actually apply for all of them for all of the trainings that we sponsor. So we definitely are applying for prevention credits as well as clinical hours, both through the Chemical Dependency Professionals Board and the Social Worker Marriage and Family Therapist Board.
Thank you.
Sure. And then as far as the funding piece goes, some folks have heard this, but I'll just recap. And I did get a call from Sherry Walter from OACPA asking this questions. I thought I might as well share it with the folks that are on this call, and it'll be in the recording then. The constitutional amendment and then the enacting legislation, quote unquote, said that the funds were for, now's the quote part, gambling and other addictions, unquote. So gambling and other addictions. So the board that gets the allocation can then contract with providers to provide prevention, treatment, recovery services with those gambling allocation funds. They can rightfully, legally, ethically be used for other addictions as well. So they're specifically on, and we don't normally say this anymore, but in this case it makes sense, the addiction side of the behavioral health spectrum. But we know that there's really no side to behavioral health, that integrated care is always the goal, and it is always the goal for problem gambling services as well. If we are trying to help someone, achieve a level of recovery, a level of health and wellness, we want them to be seen for whatever issues they have. So if someone is using those funds for addiction services, then I would say it's extremely important, and it is required, that those clients are getting screened for gambling disorder. And ideally, not just when they walk in the door, but again, within the course of treatment. So maybe someone's been coming for a month or so, then they get screened again. They're more likely to be a little more forthcoming about their gambling behavior once they've had a relationship develop with a clinician. So I'm happy to talk more with anybody, with you or anybody else one-on-one about that. But we want the gambling fund to be used, we want them to be used appropriately, and we definitely want to make sure that they benefit individuals with gambling issues in the state. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments or best practices during COVID? I have a couple of requests from John Cummings to become the presenter. You're welcome to take the stage, John. Question, a comment? Okay. He left the call. No one wants to tell a best practice, something you've been doing that's out of the ordinary from your normal practice.
Stacey, this is Melissa Cole from Cumberland County.
Hi, Melissa.
Hey. So we haven't officially started it yet, but we're going to attempt to do our normal summer program instead of doing it, in person at the apartments and lower income places we normally would. We're going to put together sunshine bags. We're partnering with the Coalition for Drug-Free Claremont County to put together some fun activities and games and outdoor things and bags and drop them off at the apartments and the mobile home parks. And we've contacted them to see how many kids live on the property that are in school or school age, because that's the age we service, all school age children. And then we will have a calendar of Zoom events where they can, if they have ability to log on to do the craft or whatever the thing is live, via Zoom. If not, the instructions on how to do it will be with all the stuff in their bag, so they can come on and do it with us, or they can just do it at home with their families. But that's what we're going to try to do this summer instead of our normal in-person summer programming.
Thank you for that. We actually were talking this morning within the prevention team about alternatives to summer camps. So that's good to know. And I know it's not what we wish we were doing. It's what we can do. I also had seen a note from this morning from Joe Rawson from the Steubenville, Jefferson, and Columbiana County area. And their prevention office is doing some similar pieces around, obviously, providing virtual prevention, providing information both for gambling and prevention issues, bags that would go to school-age youth.
We're going to try to do 3 different deliveries over the summer, one in June, one July, and one August. And we're putting from Search Institute the developmental asset information, the little handout for the first month. We'll have 150 ways, kids thrive. I can't remember the exact title of them. And then the next month we'll have a different insert that has something on that, and then the third one will have a different one. So trying to build that information in with why it's important to do these things with our kids.
Great.
As well as resources for if somebody needs help, where to get it and that kind of stuff too.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We know we have
Stacey, this is Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
I can touch on a few webinars. This is Mike Dizzelli with Problem Gambling Network of Ohio. We just have webinars coming up the rest of May and June that I think can be for anyone. We have one on case presentations. So those are similar to the fellowship program where they deliver a case for graduation. We're going to have 2 former fellows or fellowship alum do case presentations and have an opportunity to answer questions and have some dialogue with the attendees. I think that's great for anyone, prevention or treatment, to hear a little bit more about what a live case looks like. Scott Anderson is doing one on cognitive distortions. I think that also can be for anyone. I think both prevention and treatment would find that interesting. And then we have more of a prevention-focused one, but I wanted to highlight this. So if you have any colleagues who also do, or you yourself do AOD, we're going to be talking about some problem gambling collegiate programming that is going on around the state, but really how we anticipate having to alter or adapt that programming. So even if someone on the phone or if someone on the phone has a colleague who does college programming for whether it's problem gambling or if it's alcohol and drugs or mental health or suicide prevention, really anything, we'd be interested in having them on because that's going to be a panel discussion. So, the topic doesn't necessarily have to be problem gambling, but we're curious how everyone is going to have to develop some programming, anticipating that guests are probably not going to be able to be on campus this fall. So please let folks know about that. All of those registrations can be found at pgnohio.org/events. And Casey did mention the fellowship program, how we're going to overlap that a little bit. We anticipate being able to start up finishing this past year's class in July or August, and hopefully having their case presentations and graduation in October, which is when we always start the new class. So hopefully those two can overlap in October, where the new fellows can have their orientation at the same time as when this graduating class does their presentations for graduation, so those two groups can be together. If you want more information on that program, you can reach out to me, mbizzelli@pgnohio.org, and you can find my email on the website as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. And I didn't mean to leave off. Most of our prevention offerings come through Prevention Action Alliance and will be posted at preventionactionalliance.org/events. And we do have Julie Hines immediately following this session. Well, not immediately. Starting at 2, from 2 to 4, there's a youth gaming and gambling session. I don't know about its capacity. If you have questions about that, you could send a note to James Fax. That would be JSYPHAX.
Hey, Stacey, it's James. I was able to call in.
Go ahead, James.
Hey, everyone is welcome to join us. We have about 30 spots left for the 2 o'clock event with Julie. If you are interested, send me an email because I'm not in online. Otherwise, I would share the link with everybody. So send me an email or check out the Prevention Action Alliance social media page on Facebook or our website. We have some links there. But we definitely have a few spots left. So we hope to see everybody at 2.
Thanks, James. One more time, that would be jsyphax, JSYPHAX @preventionalliance.org. Thank you. Other questions, comments, best practices during COVID? All right. Well, I don't want to keep people on the line if we don't have any questions.
Casey, this is Alessandro.
Go ahead, Alessandro.
From Orgo Branding, and pleasure to meet everyone if we haven't met before. We are with the advertising agency that helps with the Before You Bet and Change the Game campaign. And during times of COVID, as more people are spending more time indoors and on their devices, just letting everyone know that we've been moving a lot of our strategies more to, say, online tactics, social media, animated PSAs. We'll be speaking more about this during the Prevention Action Alliance session happening at 2 p.m. that James just mentioned. But if you have any questions on, say, how to utilize some of the tools or assets that we have from our campaign within your county or within your own local initiatives, as Stacy mentioned, Beth Burson, who I believe is also on this call, who will also be chatting with me about it during the session coming up. We're always here to help consult or let you know what tools and tactics we have available that we're happy to help you co-brand as well. So it's if you need anything, it's Beth at Origo Branding, and that's ORIGO branding.com. Once again, ORIGO branding.com. And we can help you with whatever your needs are, even if it's just helping to answer any questions you might have. So but we'll talk more at 2.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Sure. Thank you, Stacey.
Anyone else? Okay. With that, if you know of folks that got locked out, I think if individuals just made the phone call, they were able to get on. I've gotten a lot of notes that worked, but for whatever, I can't apologize enough that only 26 people got on the webinar, and we didn't really share. There wasn't content, so the phone call would have been fine. But we will send the recording out, and any questions come from that, please send me a note. Got our lottery and casino control partners, Public Gambling Network of Ohio, Prevention Action Alliance on the prevention side. We'll be happy to assist. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Stacy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Stacy. I love your hair. It's Kelly.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.